First of all, I just need to get it out of the way. There does not exist something such as a dopamine hit. I know you've heard it over and over again, self-improvement channels telling you to not chase a dopamine hit by not scrolling and by not doing the things, drugs of abuse, all that. That is not how it works. Dopamine, it's not just pleasure. Dopamine is the willingness to go after something as well as the satisfaction we feel when we achieve that certain something. But at the same time, every high, every dopamine peak, which is the right terminology, is always followed by a low, right? Which is called the trough. Peak and trough. Trough just means dopamine dropping below baseline because your body has used up most of its dopamine stores when you hit the peak, and now it doesn't have enough to maintain the baseline, hence it's low. It's just as simple as that. That empty space after the excitement fades and you feel kind of distracted and unmotivated even, that is completely normal. That's just how the human body works. It's not because you did something wrong, it's just because your body simply doesn't have enough dopamine to maintain your happiness level, to maintain your dopamine baseline. The real danger, however, shows up when you start chasing those peaks and kind of embody in a certain way, ill-informed of course, but it kind of becomes your identity to chase these peaks, and you think that is how it's supposed to work. The scrolling, the quick rewards, the sugar rush, the lust, the drugs of abuse, all that, the hits of validation in general. Each chase like that, what it really does is dig the trough even deeper. And soon your baseline, your natural level of motivation and happiness and satisfaction inevitably comes down. You have to think of it as an average, yeah? When most of the time you're chasing these peaks, that just means that your dopamine is up here when it's supposed to be on your baseline. And what that does is deplete your body of actual dopamine levels. And what that in turn leads to is your baseline dropping below where it used to be, just so your body can maintain a routine, a uniform level of dopamine. Addiction isn't just about substances or behaviors. Addiction, and by no means am I trying to take credit for this, I learned this from Dr. Andrew Huberman. Addiction is a progressive narrowing of the things that bring you pleasure. Addiction is the progressive narrowing of the things that bring you pleasure. Your world, in a way, shrinks. You go from finding joy in many things, the things that you were supposed to find joy in, like just effort, doing the things that you know you should be doing, to only getting it from one, and even that stops working after a while. So how do you fix it? You don't escape the trough. That is just not possible, right? It's a process that your body follows. What I need you to do is use it. That's what I call a dopamine trough catapult protocol. When you hit that low, resist the urge to run from it. Don't reach for another hit. Sit in discomfort. That's your nervous system recalibrating. That is your dopamine tank refilling, to put it in a very simple way. The goal isn't constant pleasure. It's never been. We have to understand that. It's balance. It's just the law of the universe that something good can't exist on its own. Because if it did, we wouldn't value good. If everything was just good, you wouldn't even know what good is, would you? The goal is to maintain as steady a baseline as you can, and possibly over time, hopefully even raising your baseline, becoming just a happier person in the long run, right? When you learn to live without constant stimulation and drugs of abuse, lust, your brain starts to find motivation in the simple things again, where it was supposed to find motivation in the first place, like just progress, effort, growing as a human being, doing things that you need to be doing. And there's a tool for this. It's called intermittent reinforcement. You don't need to reward yourself every time you do something good. Sometimes do it without expecting anything in return. Let your brain relearn that satisfaction is supposed to come from the act itself, just as much as it is supposed to come from the reward. See, remember I said Dopamine is about chasing as well as achieving. It's not just about the reward system. That unpredictability, the occasional earned dopamine peak, keeps your motivation alive without burning it out. So the next time you're in a trough, remember, it's supposed to happen. The trough is the only thing that can lead you to actual happiness. It's not a setback. It's the slingshot. It's the space where your brain rebuilds its baseline and prepares to launch you even higher. Don't chase the peak. Build the baseline. I am rooting for you. You have a lovely day.